Now, the president has been making waves with his apology tour overseas, and when he returns home, he's going to be ramping up his effort to launch his universal health care plan. And here to discuss these issues is actress, women's health advocate, and public diplomacy envoy for our State Department, Fran Drescher.
How are you?
Are you running for office?
Nice to see you again.
Nice to see you again.
Well, we'll see. I have a little time to think about it.
Yeah.
I might run in 2010
But you're going to be a lib.
2012.
You're going to run as a Democrat.
I will run. I will most likely run as a Democrat, but most importantly, I would run as Fran Drescher with all of my own ideas and thoughts.
All right, fair enough. Now, you want some type of universal health care or some variation thereof.
Yeah, I just want to make sure that in this country that nobody that gets to live here and calls themselves an American citizen ever gets sick and is turned away by a doctor or a hospital.
Well, they can't be legally. Right now, in America, you cannot be denied care because of your inability to pay. Right now, today, that is the current status.
But, you know, when you live in a real world and you're sick, it's not so black and white. And people don't know where to turn. They have catastrophic illness. And you were talking about your mom and how horrible it was.
She had cancer,
and I'm sure that, you know, your family was well covered with insurance. And imagine what it's like when it's compounded with stacks of medical bills that are really making you bankrupt.
Everybody, I hear your arguments, and I know people, they think their fear is going to be taken away by the government. And I think the government
makes... What do you mean their fear?
In other words, their fear that they're going to get sick and they're not going to have health care. That fear. And I hear this all the time, but yet, for example, just 2 weeks ago, in the Great Britain, in the Daily Telegraph, they had an article. Now, they have the national health care system, nationalized health care. They have what's called a government rationing body. The government rationing body decided that women with advanced breast cancer can't get the drugs they need, and a rare form of stomach cancer, you're not going to get the drugs you need, which is basically a death sentence.
Well,
that's nationalized health care.
That's not what President Obama is putting forward.
No, he's putting forward a down payment towards that system, to use his words.
Well, you don't have a
semi-private system.
Yeah, but that's not. You don't have a crystal ball. I don't really think that that's because we already have a you know, a health insurance big business in this country already in place, and no president is looking to put them out of business. So that's why I think that it's never going to go that far in that direction.
Well, you could say that, but $634 billion, which is what his down payment is for health care, is an awful, and he calls it a down payment. That's a move towards nationalized health care. I'll tell you what I would support. Maybe you'll agree with me. There's a great book, and I hope you'll read it. It's out of the Cato Institute. It's called Patient Power. It's about medical savings accounts. Every patient has to get a yearly checkup. They all have their own personal account. We have catastrophic insurance if you get a really serious condition, and you're covered. But if you don't use the money, it's your account. You control it. It's your money. You get to save it and give it to your kids or grandkids when you eventually die. Does that appeal to you at all, a free market solution?
Well, I mean, you know, if you're saying if these people didn't use the money, they can save it for their kids, but then if they get sick, it becomes the taxpayer's problem?
No. I'm saying that, you know, throughout your life, as you pay into it, starting in your young years, you build your own medical savings account. You have to, every year you go and you want early detection, I want early detection. And so as that fund builds up, if something happens, you take it out of the fund, which is built up over the years, but it's your personal account. You control it. You pick your doctors.
You know, here's the thing. I think that everybody has their own spin on what they think would be the perfect way to insure Americans against having any kind of illness and not having someone to turn to. We happen to have elected a president that has a plan in action.
Leftist, a radical.
And not true, actually.
Oh, not true. He's a moderate. Okay, he's a conservative.
You know what? He's a man, and he's an intellectual giant.
A left-wing.
And he's the first
intellectual giant?
I think so.
Would you hang out in Reverend Wright's church for 20 years? That's a real smart guy that made that decision. Would you hang out with Bill Ayers? A genius.
Let me just say this. I think that he is one of the first presidents in a long time that seems very committed to helping the American people, and in terms of their health.
All right, let me ask you this question. Do you agree with him?
I know that from where you're sitting, it seems like it may be a negative thing because you have health insurance.
It's not.
But I think that he's thinking of the millions of Americans
I was
that
one that didn't have health insurance.
Turn.
I had to drop out of school 3 times. I didn't have the money to pay for it. I didn't have health insurance in my 20s when I was on my own.
Out of school
I was broke.
Is not the same as having to choose between getting a prescriptive drug or putting food on your table.
Yeah, but you're acting as though I, grew up with a silver spoon in my mouth. My father was a World War II vet. I lived on a 50 by 100 lot. I wasn't a wealthy person most of my life.
Okay, but what, did you have these extreme opinions then?
Yes. Do you agree with him apologizing for America, thinking America's arrogant?
I think that to err is human, and I think that considering that we're the most powerful nation on the planet, I think that it's important for us to ingratiate ourselves with our allies, and be humble.
We are humble.
And say,
when we saved Europe from Nazism and fascism.
To keep it within its context, because he also said to the Europeans that you also have to, in turn, realize all the great things that Americans do.
We saved Europe from totalitarianism. Do you think America is arrogant?
I think that America has behaved very arrogantly in many different situations. And you know what? If you look up, what arrogance means, I think that you'll see that we have behaved in a way that it's like, it's my way or the highway. And you really, no matter how small a country is compared to the most powerful country on earth, you really can't make someone feel less than.
I'm going to say
you
this
already know you're more powerful.
But we showed wisdom where they showed appeasement. We showed strength and insight where they didn't have the understanding. But you know what? I do love having you on the program.
I love coming on the show. Now listen, I'm doing the Revlon Run Walk, both in New York on May 2nd and in Los Angeles on May 9th.
I got a runner. I'm in trouble. But
RevlonRunWalk.com.
Got it.
Join the Kansas Rams team.
Special show tomorrow night as 6 ideas to save